Good afternoon!
Global 2. First up on the agenda is the drought in South Africa.
Take it away, Carol.
When the drought occurred in 1980, we began to see drastic changes. What were some changes your family was forced to go through?
Well, during the first couple of months, it was just like any other year. Nothing really changed.
When did you start noticing changes?
It was the following month. It was just small changes. My son's pet died in the fire in the backyard. He was devastated.
What other effects did it have?
Well, my husband was laid off, and so were many other people. My daughter Kenya, in '83, she died of malaria. My son Niger, he was devastated. So he acted differently, and my husband kicked him out of the house. And then my neighbor across the street, she lost her house and she moved in with us. But shortly after, both Niger and the neighbor were dead.
Did you ever get back on your feet?
No, in '84 we moved into my sister's house after we lost our home, and my husband, he didn't live to see us recover and get back on our feet.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And in other news, Frederick Willem de Klerk has been elected a new National Party leader in Africa.
Apartheid was originally introduced and enforced by the National Party, correct?
Yes, in fact, apartheid, meaning apartness, has signified the period of segregation that has been taking place in Africa since 1948.
The National Party went so far as to prohibit social contact with other races, including blacks, whites, Indians, and coloreds. Separate territories were created called Bantustans, set aside for the so-called minorities.
Can you believe that this is still going on?
Well, hopefully not for long. De Klerk is supposedly changing that. Being the new president of the National Party, he intends to end apartheid entirely.
Also, the South African Bush War is coming to an end, further contributing to the end of apartheid. Here's Carol with more information.
Here's live footage brought to you by a viewer by the name of Dr. Evil 5001.
A single gun is capable of hurtling 3 projectiles a minute at a given target. For the men behind the G5s, working the weapon.
Good to be home again.
U.S. and the Communist Soviet Union are dissipating.
I'm sure the world is extremely relieved to hear that, considering this is the closest the world has come to nuclear winter.
The Cuban Missile Crisis is a prime example of the aggression shown by the Soviet Union demonstrated in the arms race against the U.S.
Joining us today, Shannon Wood, here to elaborate.
Thanks, guys. In 1962, from October 15th to the 28th, the arms race between the Soviet Union and the United States began. It all started with the Bay of Pigs battle. The United States made a failed attempt at trying to overthrow the Cuban dictator Fidel Castro a year prior. When the Soviet Union learned about the United States' missiles, Nikita Khrushchev, representing the Soviet Union, felt betrayed. He then teamed up with Castro and proposed his plan to put the Soviet Union's missiles on Cuba for a close-range shot towards the U.S. When the United States President John F. Kennedy learned about the construction in Cuba, he released to the public his demand that the missiles be removed. He then imposed a naval quarantine around Cuba to stop the transporting of the missiles. Khrushchev agreed to dismantle the missiles if the U.S. promised not to attack. The missiles were returned to the Soviet Union and trust that the United States would not invade Cuba. Thank you.